I can't stress this enough. The key really is locking into yourself. The key really is locking into who you are, operating as your genuine self, and just loving you. And I don't mean loving you like literally just taking yourself out on dates or romanticizing your life. I mean loving yourself enough to really show up as your authentic self. And sometimes your authentic self is not always pretty. It's not always the beautiful version of yourself that you need to show up as. Sometimes you need to just sit there and really get to know who you are. Get to know the jealous parts of you, the envious parts of you, the parts of you where your ego is so apparent, but it's hard to admit that. When you can love on that version of yourself, you start to call in people and things that you never even knew you wanted or never even knew was available to you. That's how it works, right? When we talk about self love, we talk about it from the perspective of romantic energy, right? It's all about this, like, you have to love yourself and give yourself the what it is that you deserve. You deserve love on all levels. You deserve to be seen and noticed for exactly who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, right? And so if that's the case, then that means that you need to get to know the ugly parts of yourself. And instead of hiding that version of yourself from yourself and everybody else, show up. Show up. See that version of yourself. Get to know that version of yourself and ask that version of yourself, hey, how can we start to shift this? Because I don't love this for us. Yeah, this egotistical part of me that is keeping me from who it is that I genuinely know that I am, I don't love this for us anymore. So I'm going to love you enough to help you through this part, to get you through this part. There's so much work that we can do on ourselves. It's not about necessarily healing everything and all the time, right? I don't believe in that. I believe that you should be having fun and living your life and doing things of that sort. But the thing about us is that there's so much depth to us as people that you can literally spend years getting to know yourself because you're changing every single day. Your mood changes every single day. One moment, you can literally pick up a fork, and that fork can remind you of something that happened when you were 2 years old that you didn't even realize you remembered at 2 years old because you don't remember that things from 2 years old. So, how do you even remember that, right? The way we're so complex within our own selves, we can learn so much about ourselves. And while we're sitting here wondering why we're so obsessed with other people, why we're so obsessed with our exes and what has happened in the past, it's because all of the energy that we're pouring into them, we want to pour into ourselves. We want to get to know ourselves more. There's a reason why we crave other people. We crave other people because, one, naturally as humans, that is just like naturally how we work. We work in connection with others. We care about connection. But the reason why we care about connection so much is because so many people literally mirror who we are. They teach us about ourselves. They tell us about ourselves. They're a mirror to us. They're an extension of us. And so we love connection with others because it helps us to know ourselves even deeper. So while you're over here in a position of thinking that you really just can't stop thinking about your ex, or you really can't stop thinking about the past, or you can't stop thinking about your old friends, or whatever the case may be, it's really just you looking for you. It's really you looking for a certain version of yourself. That ex that you can't stop thinking about is because there's a version of you that used to be with that person that is asking you to tap in and get to know that version of you. Forgive that version of you. Understand who that was and what it is that you need now and how you guys can collaborate now, right? The reality is that there are so many things that we think about and so many versions of ourselves that are literally asking us to tap into them. It's actually amazing. So when you think of self-love, instead of thinking of it from the perspective of dating yourself and just giving yourself all of these romantic, beautiful things, I want you to start thinking of it from the perspective of, oh shoot, I just have to pour into myself. I have to pour into myself in a way where I'm willing to see all the dimensions of myself, all the different ways that I show up. And I'm telling you, that type of self love, that type of authentic, real, genuine self love, all versions of you, no BS, straight up authentic, that right there starts to call in all of the true abundance, all of the true soulmate type vibrations. I mean, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. It is not easy. It's so vulnerable, but it really does get crazy. The reality is that it's not about healing, it's about loving. That is the energy of love. We think that love is just this like super cutesy, high vibrational, oh my God, everything is great type of energy. Yes, and you know what I mean? It's also the simple fact that like every version of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, is seen. Love is just, it's feeling seen. I don't know if you've ever felt seen before, but that's what love really does feel like. It just, I'm seen. And when you are hiding versions of you because it's not accepted by society, or you're hiding versions of you because you're ashamed of that version of you, or someone has taught you to be ashamed or guilty of that version of you, what happens is that that self-love is diminished and you're not fully in it. And so you really do look for others, you look for validation from others in order for you to feel that love and fulfillment from yourself. You need others to give it to you. You need others to tell you that you're worth it. And Boobop, I'm telling you, you're worth it. And when you start to pour into yourself in that way, it just shows up naturally. It just kind of takes off. It just kind of happens. And it's an amazing feeling, but it is also super vulnerable. It's uncomfortable. So you kind of have to get through that discomfort first. You have to allow yourself, give yourself permission to be uncomfortable first. And then you can call in that abundant, beautiful love, that self care, that self love that says, hey, look, I know that we don't necessarily love this about ourselves. I know that this is the uncomfortable truth about ourselves. But if we just nurture it, if we tap into it instead of running away like we usually do or like we want to, something even more abundant, something even more beautiful will come out of that. And we won't be operating out of a place of just kind of looking for a level of validation or looking for places to hide. This is how we align ourselves with, you know, jobs that don't align with us, relationships that don't align with us, friendships that don't align with us, right? We end up getting with the wrong vibration because we're hiding a version of ourselves. But there's something so beautiful, something so loving about really truly allowing yourself to be fully authentic. And authentic doesn't just mean, you know, just showing up as your, you know, outgoing personality or whatever personality you have. It's also just being real with yourself and being like, oh shoot, I'm jealous as hell. Oh my god, I'm judgmental. Oh my goodness, my ego is 100% in my way. Yeah, as much as I think that I'm the kind of person that doesn't like drama, I'm actually all for the drama, right? It's the part of you that can be so real about who you are and what you do, the part of you that can admit that you're not as good of a person as you try to portray, or that you are a good person who has done really bad things, right? And not in victim mindset, not in the type of way where it's like, you know, you just want sympathy or relatability, but like the type of stuff that you're afraid no one can relate to, the type of stuff that you judge yourself for. When you look at it from the perspective of, I'm not judging you anymore, I'm going to look at you with love, but at the same time, I'm going to come up with a plan to start to shift these habits, shift the way that we do things. That's when we start to, one, have compassion for the rest of the world, and two, really pour into ourselves. And that's how we let go of our attachments to other people and our attachments to certain things that we have created a version of us to feel like it's our identity. This is why we feel so attached to certain things and people. It's because we really genuinely start to identify with it because we're hiding parts of us and we need something else to fulfill us. So we look to other people and we look to other things. But Rubab, when you're thinking about self love is the parts of you that really, really just isn't so accepted by you. When you can love that part of you, when you can see that part of you, oh my gosh, something starts to happen where you're so wrapped up within yourself. You're so wrapped up, not in a self centered way, but in a beautiful way. You're so wrapped up within what it is that you need that you start operating off of authentic energy. And naturally, you attract the people, the things, the opportunities, the situations that are meant to be for you. And then you're not so afraid of being alone because you actually like your own company because you're not hiding from yourself. It is an amazing thing to tap into, but you have to give yourself permission to tap into. And I'm telling you, no matter how good of a person you believe you are, you have an ego. We all have an ego. I know I sure do. I'm still working on my ego. Hello. Right. But in the midst of working on it, I've really realized that there's a lot of places in my life where I really thought that I was one thing, but the more I go deeper into who I am, the more I spend time with myself, the more I worry more about me and less about, you know, others and how I'm supposed to necessarily show up in the world, right? Not that I don't care for others, because that's different, right? I'm just not worried about others. I'm not going outside of myself to make myself digestible for others or acceptable in society anymore. And so, because I've been doing that, I've been really getting deep and getting to know myself. And I have mourned and grieved over situations and things that I allowed my ego and my illusions to paint a picture for me because I wanted to be acceptable enough in the world and I wasn't being authentically myself. And it's really freaking cool. It's really, really cool. And so I'm extending this wisdom to you because Once you allow yourself to get past the discomfort of being that authentic with yourself, once you can call yourself out, and that's the key, it's to call yourself out. You know what you're doing. You're not just operating off of subconscious. A lot of times when we're doing certain things, we know what we're doing. A lot of us are manipulators. A lot of us are liars. A lot of us are, assholes. A lot of us are all those things. And then we get mad at other people for being, greater versions of that, right? But when you can just get that honest with yourself and just be like, it's not the whole no one's perfect thing, but it's like, no, this is literally what I've done, and this is literally who I am, and it is the worst parts of me. When you can look at the worst parts of you, and then you can start to fall in love with yourself, knowing those worst parts of you, because you're no longer hiding and instead you're working through those parts, the love that you start to exude for yourself is amazing, and naturally it's felt by others. And then naturally, everything that you're supposed to be doing, everyone you're supposed to have in your life, everything that's supposed to happen just naturally happens. And I'm not saying it's easy or comfortable. I'm not romanticizing this. This is a process that literally can feel like your entire body is about to give out on you. And it's also so fantastic to experience. It is probably the highest form of self-love. It is probably the love that we know that we feel from God, but we don't understand why God loves us and forgives us so easily. When we do that for ourselves, the world kind of goes quiet. You're just not worried so much about what other people think about you. You can care about people. You can care about life. In the midst of me spending time with me, this is probably the most compassion and the most love that I've had for the outside world, right? And I already thought that I had so much love for the outside world. As somebody who is such a humanitarian, who just wants to help, who just wants to show up, I coach people, I do all that stuff, right? This is probably the most compassion and love that I felt for human beings ever, because I understand them even deeper than I did before, because I am no longer separate from the worst people that I've ever met in my life. I am no longer the victim. I am no longer, even less than, like, not even just the victim, but like, I'm no longer the person that was just so hurt by these people. I can understand them because I was able to look at myself in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, even if I didn't exactly do what this person did to me, I can understand why they did it, because I've been in that position before, or I've felt those types of feelings before. I can see how someone can choose that. And the compassion and the wisdom and the open heart that I have for humans is because of how much love that I have for me. Instead of feeling shame for all the worst parts of myself, I'm so in like, I forgive myself, truly forgive myself, truly love myself, and I'm working through the parts that are just ugly. Period. I'm working through the parts that just don't feel good. And because I'm working through them, I can no longer hold it against me. I can no longer hide who I am. And it's making me show up more and more authentic and more confident in everything that I do. Literally. Even the things that don't make sense to me that I'm doing, I can confidently do the things that don't necessarily make sense and not be so worried about the judgments and needing validation from everyone. It's like my own validation is the highest rank, and my own respect is the highest rank. Like, I'm not looking for respect from others. I'm like, do I respect me right now? I do. Okay, we good. Like, it's such a massive shift, and it's literally from looking at the worst parts of myself that's allowed me to shift that. It's not looking at the best parts of myself and just trying to make that shine. As a matter of fact, I shine greater in the best parts of myself because I understand the worst parts of myself. I'm going to extend that challenge to you. Take a look at all the worst parts of yourself, and instead of doing so from a judgmental space, allow yourself to feel the feels, allow yourself to kind of have that body reaction to all the worst parts of yourself, and then talk to that version of you. That version of you that shows up in certain places, ask them questions. Why do they do what they do? What exactly were they feeling at that time? Why exactly do they move the way that they move? And get to know them. Be curious enough about yourself. Ask them where it's from. Get to know you on a level that you have never allowed yourself to go. And I'm telling you, it's going to shift everything for you.